Hey everybody, welcome back to Jashele Tech TV. So this is a coding video where I'm going to basically be going over some stuff that I'm doing right now. Currently I've been going through MDN's web development course, and this course is fairly new. According to the site, this course was released, I think, sometime last year. Yeah, according to the release notes, this course officially launched June of 2020. So it's pretty new. I don't see anyone really talking about it from anyone I know, but I would recommend checking it out if you just want to, keep your skills sharp, improve your existing skills, or even if you're a beginner, I recommend checking it out. They have everything from HTML to CSS, JavaScript, web forms, accessibility, tools and testing, server-side programming. And it's not just something where you click through and you're just doing a bunch of exercises, but it's very in-depth. And I mean, it's in-depth enough just being in the industry professionally for the past year and a half. It really covers quite a bit of stuff that you really need to know, and maybe things you didn't know. And I'm learning things here, and I definitely plan to go through the whole thing just because I want to do that. But, I would recommend clicking through because it gets you familiar. MDN is a good go-to source to learn anyway, but just getting familiar with their course helps you also get familiar with their documentation. So I'm happy they put this up here. I'm really enjoying this course. And as you can see, the subjects covered are basic setup and learning how to learn, web standards and best practices such as accessibility and cross-browser compatibility, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, tooling that is used to facilitate modern client-side web development. And you don't need any prior experience or anything, but even if you have prior experience, you're still going to learn some new stuff. And I also just, I created a blog post recently. Actually, I posted this today. And this blog post talks about some things just basic stuff that I've learned just going through their course. So I posted just some nuggets of HTML, maybe a little bit of JavaScript, some cool snippets that I thought were cool, things I never knew. So you can check that out at devjashele.tech/articles. So what I've just done is I have just finished the intro class. Let's see. Intro to HTML. So it's umbrellaed under structuring the web with HTML. And then it starts with intro to HTML. And then they have these guides getting started, metadata in HTML, HTML text fundamentals, creating hyperlinks, advanced text formatting, document and website structure, debugging HTML. At the end, once you complete all that, it doesn't take long. I mean, it's just reading. And even within these, when you go into getting started, they even have these little practice exercises in here. I really like how this is structured. I really do. Just so much information. And you can practice with these little editable code boxes. And then even at the end, it has, let's see. On some of them at the end, it has a little exercise too. But I've done all that. Again, I recommend, going through it if you want to learn some new stuff. As a matter of fact, I don't even think I did debugging HTML. I don't even think I did this. I'm going to have to do this. Whoops. I'll do that after this video. I guess it skipped, but I'll read through this. Cool. I gotta do that. So, but anyways, I'm on the assessment, which, the assessment didn't require debugging. It's something I already know how to do, but still, I'm gonna read it because I could learn something new, right? All right, so marking up a letter is the first assessment. So if you find yourself doing this assessment, let me know. We can compare notes or something. But I guess this this video could be a good source if somebody's looking for someone who has done it, because for this project you can go get help you can ask for help in different forums and stuff, so that's good. So this video could serve as an additional resource. So what this is talking about, the marking up a letter is kind of everything I think you've covered in these other modules here. So what it's wanting you to do is basically testing your skills on implementing semantic markup, which is very important for SEO and accessibility. It's something that can be overlooked sometimes, and there's things we can use to make the web better. When it comes to HTML, there's a lot of tags and metadata and stuff. You can read through this, but I've learned some things that just can make the web better and make your site better when it comes to accessibility, SEO, and markup. So what this is doing is testing those skills from what you've gone over. And I'm going to do this project here in this video. So it says, for this project, your task is to mark up a letter that needs to be hosted on a university intranet. The letter is a response from a research fellow to a prospective PhD student concerning their application to the university. So they have these requirements on this project. They have the block and structural semantics they want you to have. They have inline semantics, and they have the head of the document. So what I've done is I've actually taken these requirements and put them in a checklist, because that's how my brain works. I need checklists. These bullet points don't work for me. I need something to where I can, mark it off. So I've done that here over in Notion, one of my favorite web applications. Now, this screenshot is an example of what the letter, it says, might look like after being marked up, but that's pretty much what I'm going to go by. I'm going to make it look like this. And then they have, further help if you need it. Oof, that was disgusting. So the starting point to begin, get the raw text you need to mark up. So I'm going to go over here to the repository, and it has the raw text that you're going to have to mark up. And I already have the index.html and style.css set up over here in VS Code. This is a new computer, and I actually had to get all this installed. So I don't have any fancy stuff right now. I just have the basic stuff. Anyway, I'm just gonna go ahead and paste the jumbo. Actually, before I do that, there is a shortcut, a snippet in VS Code, ! That'll go ahead and put in the structure of the HTML, because you need that. And then I'll paste in the text. And I'm gonna run a live server over here on the left-hand side. I do have that extension. Alright, so as you can see, it's nothing but jumbled up text right now. That's all we have. And again, we want it to look like this. So they also provide the CSS as well. CSS to style the HTML. I'm going to go over to the repository, paste the CSS into the style.css. Okay, we got that taken care of. Ouch. Okay, and I'm going to do a little bit of organizing of my desktop. So this is the actual project on the left, this blank screen. Oh, I just need to save it. Wait, no, that's not it. This over here, this is the actual project. I just need to get set up here. Get it. Get. No, okay. All right. So I'm gonna have the project, I guess, sitting over here. My instructions sitting right here. kind of, yeah, let's put it right here and then bring this up a little bit. So many windows. I'll move VS Code. And I got my checklist here. Great. So everything's set up and we are ready to roll. Okay, the first thing, I'm going to take a look at just some of the checklist items over here. Okay, I'm going to start with the head of the document because it makes sense to start from the top to bottom. So the character set of the document should be set as UTF-8 using the appropriate meta tag, and I'm pretty sure that's already in there. I'm going to make the code a little bit bigger. Yeah, that's fine. All right. So we already have UTF-8 in here, the character set. And the UTF-8 character set basically specifies the character set for your document. And that includes most characters from the vast majority of human written languages. So the page can now handle any textual content it might contain and can help avoid problems later. And that is directly quoted from MDN. The author of the letter should be specified in an appropriate meta tag. And if you're not familiar with meta tags, meta tags. If you're not familiar with meta tags, there's a great article on MDN for that. So adding an author and description, basically it says it's beneficial in many ways. It's useful to be able to understand who wrote the page if you have any questions about the content and you would like to contact them. So that's one of the requirements, and so I shall do it. I'm gonna add a new meta tag. Name equals author, and then content equals, so the author is going to be Eleanor Gay because she's the one that wrote the letter, so I'm going to put her as the author. Eleanor Gay. Alright, so I'm going to check off that item. The author of the letter should be specified, and it is specified. And then we need to provide CSS inside an appropriate tag, because obviously we have to link the CSS. So right under what I just did, I'll go ahead and link the CSS. It's right in the same directory, so style.css, save. And nothing's gonna change right now because, oops, 1 second, gotta restart the server. Alright, nothing's gonna change right now because other than it looks like there's some padding on the left and right, or some margin updates that the CSS has. What does it have? Yeah, so the body is a max width of 800, so that's all that's going to change until I start adding in some more stuff, like the class is one class that it has, and then these other selectors. So CSS is there. So the head of the document section is complete. So one thing the checklist has is it's about the addresses. So put the two addresses inside address elements. Each line of the address should sit on a new line but not be in a new paragraph. Okay, so there's a great article on MDN about marking up contact details. That's what they're referring to when they're talking about the address element, and this wraps around contact details. So that's what they want for the addresses. And the first one is going to be up here on the right, and then the second one here. So I'll go ahead and add those around that. And then I need to wrap it in a P as well, because it also says here each line of the address each line of the address should sit on a new line but not in a new paragraph. I'm sleepy, so I'll put it in a paragraph, and then they just need to be on a new line. I'm going to pretty the code later. For now, it's gonna look like that, okay? So I'll put break tags after each one. What that's gonna do is break each line up. So now the address is looking kind of nice there. And it's also the name of the person is, and also another thing, you see how it's automatically italicized? The address element does that automatically because it's recognizing that as contact details. If I removed it, it's just going to be regular. But if I add it back, oops, you see it's auto. Okay, so it recognizes that. So I'll go ahead and bold Dr. Eleanor's name. I like that name, Eleanor. I like it. Okay. And telephone, just tell, should be bold. I wonder if that's her real phone number. 123-456. Probably not. Okay, and then email. Email should be, what am I doing? Just email, the word itself, email should be bold. Okay. So we got that. It looks like the checklist it's related to, there should be a class to get this aligned right. So the first address and first date in the letter should have a class attribute value of sender column. And we saw that earlier in the CSS sender column, and you see it's text aligned right. So I'm going to go ahead and add that class to the address sender column address element. Okay, so now it's aligned right. Got to do the same thing for the date. Looks like another thing the checklist has regarding the dates. Now, the 4 dates in the document should have appropriate elements containing machine readable dates. So it's not just a matter of wrapping it in a p tag, which I'm going to go ahead and wrap it in a p tag and then add a class of sender column because it's aligned right as well over there. But not only that, it has to be wrapped in it should have elements containing machine readable dates, and this is what that means. Okay, here's the article on that, marking up dates and times. So HTML also provides the time element for marking up dates and times in a machine readable format, and this is an example. Why? Because these forms that we see as humans cannot be easily recognized by computers. So what if you wanted to automatically grab the dates of all events in a page and insert them into a calendar? The time element allows you to attach an unambiguous machine readable time date for this purpose. So basically the only thing you have to do is use the time element, add the date time class, and stick that date in between those elements. Now, it has a list of standard ways you would format that, and you would start with the year 2016. If it's 2016, it'll just be 2016. Okay, that's fine. All right, January 2016, and then the month, and then the date. So that's what it should look like. Machine readable. So everything is looking good. We're matching up here. Address is looking good. So now I'm going to head down to the second address. Now that's going to have to be marked up in the address tag as well. Element tag. I get these terms mixed up. Element. Okay. The address element. And of course, need to break each line up. Oh wait, got the p tag. P tag. P tag. Okay. Oh, forgot the brakes. I'm like, why it ain't breaking? Huh? Now, Miss Eileen Dover should be bold as well. So these sections are complete, and now we just have the rest of the content here. So I'm gonna just look back at the checklist to see what I have so far. So I already have both addresses wrapped in the address element, and each line sitting on a new line but not in a paragraph, so I can check that off. Use appropriate document structure, including doc type, HTML, head, and body. That's good. Names of the sender and receiver, tell and email should be marked up with strong importance. Oh, so, okay, I made a mistake here. So the B, it should be strong, and there's a reason for that. It's in the documentation, but you should be strong, not B. Strong. Sorry about that. So strong. Also, I noticed that I put Eleanor Gay instead of Dr. Eleanor Gay, so I'm going to update that too. So that can be checked off. So Eileen Dover University application. That looks like probably an H2 header. So I'm going to make this an H2. Okay. Yep, that looks good. And Dear Eileen, wrap that in a P tag. And then the first paragraph, thank you. Wrap that in a P tag. Now, one thing they want as well as part of the requirements, mark up the following 5 acronyms / abbreviations in the main text of the letter: PhD, HTML, CSS, BC, and Esquire, to provide expansions of each one. Now, how do we do that? Well, MDN, I thought that was a nice little thing that I learned too. I actually never knew that you could use that element to create abbreviations. So another fairly common element you'll meet when looking around the web is ABBR, and this is used to wrap around an abbreviation or acronym. And what it does is it creates this tooltip over that acronym, and I'll show you. So we'll start with, it looks like PhD is going to be the first acronym. So ABBR, put PhD in there. And then how do you get what it actually stands for is you add the title attribute with the value of whatever that should be, with whatever that abbreviation stands for, which is Doctor of Philosophy. So if I refresh, you can see up here a little tooltip is created, and that somebody can hover over it and see what it means. So that's one new thing that I learned. Okay, and then scrolling down to starting dates. Starting dates looks to be an H3, which is the next level down in the headings. So I'll make that an H3. So that's looking good. And then the next paragraph, go ahead and wrap that in a P. Okay. So this next section here is actually an unordered list. So I'll go ahead and create the unordered list for that. Okay, and I'm just gonna paste those pieces of text inside an li, so that way it's a list now. Now, with the dates, again, same thing here. We must, the dates need to be machine readable, and this is something that I've never actually implemented in anything I've ever done, but it is so, but you know, according to MDN, it is so good for, you know, it's good markup. So again, it's a part of the requirements. So the 4 dates in the document should have appropriate elements containing machine readable dates. So I've already done that for the first date. So I just need to do this very same thing for the other 3, and then we'll be done with that. So I'm going to go ahead and add that. Go ahead and add date time, the date time attribute, and I'm just going to paste this 2 more times for the other 2 dates. Go ahead and put those inside of the tags. Okay, and the first number is going to be the year, second number is the month, and third number is the date, which is the same in this case. Same here, so 2017, January 15th. And then, oops, that should not be there, it should be in here. 2017, 0502. And I don't know if I've already said this like in the beginning of the video or anything, but even though this is such a simple project, you know, again, I've never implemented this in a project, but I was able to go right over to MDN and see how to implement it. And again, this is something you have to do not only with HTML, but even with more complex things. You don't have to know everything. You can come right over to the documentation, and here's a sample of how to do it, and you can just apply it to your own project. And this is something that, you know, it's something that we shouldn't overlook, a skill, especially if you're just learning or something. If you're just learning, it's a skill that should not be overlooked. You don't have to memorize everything. You don't have to memorize every single element, because it's right here. There's also an entire reference chart on MDN, so if there's something I want to do on my site, I can just come here and look on this chart. If I forget something, I can say, oh yeah, address. I can wrap contact details in address. I forgot about that. So there's no need to memorize anything, because usually it's going to be documented somewhere, especially with very stable technologies. You can just bookmark it and just have it handy somewhere. You may learn something new. So now the next paragraph, P, another P, and then we have another P. This thing is looking good. It's looking good. It's looking like a letter instead of jumbled up text. So there's nothing special to do for the please let me, but for the you can find more information, that's supposed to be a link. So now according to the checklist, there are 2 places where the letter should have a hyperlink. Add appropriate links with titles. For the location that the links point to, you may use example.com as a URL. So important university dates is a link. So I'll go ahead and wrap that around a ref https example.com. Great. So now that's a link. That's pretty much all I need to do there. Next, subjects of study. So that's going to also be in H3. Okay, and then another P. All that chunk. Great. Now the next thing we have is an ordered list, 1, 2, 3. So we'll use a OL for that, and 3 LIs, realize, recognize, LIs. Okay, that's enough. Wow, come on, type, man. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and put the bullets in their appropriate spots here. Okay, so there's two things. There's superscripts and subscripts inside of this ordered list, and they're very easy to implement. So H2O is the very first one. So I'm gonna put, I'll put sub because that's a subscript, and 2, just delete that too. All right, so we got H2O. So now C14 H12O3. That more subscripts, so sub 14, and then 12, sub 12, and then O3. Okay, next, measuring the effect sentence. That looks to have 2 superscripts. So I'm going to add the superscripts to 10 to the 10. So it's just SUP, soup. And where else? The 4. So SUP, and that's 4. Great. So now we're back to acronyms, and we've already done that above, so we're just going to do the same thing to HTML and CSS. So HTML, ABBR, ABB. Okay, no, stop it. All right. CSS. The only thing we need to do is let it know what that stands for. Hypertext markup language. I don't know if hypertext is 2 words or 1. See, hypertext markup. Yeah, it's just 1 word. The T is capitalized. Okay. And CSS stands for cascading style sheets. All right, so that's good. Now people will know what that means. We're almost to the finish line, and so we got another P. Ew, another P. Let's see, exotic dance moves is an H3. So we'll mark that up, H3. Yes, you are right. Paragraph. It looks like there's emphasis on the word did, so I need to add an EM for that. Okay, so now what we have here, use an appropriate list type to mark up the semester dates, study subjects, and exotic dances. So under exotic dance moves, what this is called is a descriptive list. And this is something new I learned as well. I've never implemented descriptive lists, but they're, of course, easy to implement. But this is the purpose of these lists, is to mark up a set of items and their associated descriptions, such as definitions or questions and answers. So you'll wrap it around a DL, which stands for descriptive list. So I'll go ahead and just put it in here and go ahead and mark up that entire chunk. And then the term itself, like Polynesian chicken dance, Icelandic Brownian shuffle, and Arctic robot dance, I've never done any of those dances, but I'm gonna wrap them in a DT, which stands for descriptive term. So Polynesian chicken dance, that sounds good. I'm hungry. I mean, I know it's not like food, but it just sounds like a great dish. Okay, and then Arctic robot dance. And then after that, you have what's called DD, which is description definition, which the rest of this, the rest of this will be marked in the DD tag. So it's describing these dances. So, and you'll see it automatically also creates a little indentation too, which is cool. The last part of this sentence is, one of my fellow students used to say that he thought this dance inspired modern styles such as twerking. So DD. Alright, so that's looking good. It's matching up to what it should look like. And then last one, do I have? Oh wait, there's some, okay, also the checklist of, remember, we're marking up any acronyms and abbreviations. So there is, like, under Polynesian chicken dance, there's, let's see, BC. So that acronym needs to be marked up. So I'm gonna go to BC, AVBR. Title for Christ. Now, when I went online and typed in what does BC stand for, just to be sure, I mean, I'd always known it as that, but it also, Google says Anno Domino. So I don't know, honestly. It just says the terms Anno Domino and before Christ are used to label or number years in the Julian and Gregorian calendars, and I don't know much about that topic, like with all that. So I mean, I guess I can just add for Christ / Anno Domino. Domini, not Domino. Domino's. I'm hungry. Domino's pizza sounds great, but we're not talking about pizza. We're talking about acronyms and abbreviations. Okay, so I'll just put that. Now if this was a real project or something like that, I may check with the project manager or, the client or whoever is making these requirements. I would check with them, but since this is not a real project, I'm just going to leave it at that. And if you've done this, let me know, and if you've made it this far in the video, let me know. Okay, and that's pretty much all for that, I think. Very. So under Polynesian chicken dance, a little known but very influential dance. So there's emphasis on very. So I need to wrap that in an E. Ooh, not an E, but an EM. I don't even know if that's a thing or not. Okay, so that's it. So for more of my research, see my exotic dance research. So we'll wrap that in a P. And then exotic dance research page is an A. So that needs to be a link. href. Whoa. Excuse me. Href is https example.com. Now, so there's a specific checklist for this very last checklist item, and it's mark up the university motto, quote, and citation with appropriate elements. When you're marking up a citation, I'll go to the article. It's meant to contain the title of the resource being quoted, like the name of a book. So in this case, the memoirs of Bill S. Preston, Esquire. So like the title of a book is when you would use that. There's also an element called Q. Sorry. There's an element called Q, right? Q is quote. That's an element. So I can actually remove the quotes, and that's an MDN too. But you can wrap this in a Q. The letter Q, yes. And it will automatically generate quotes for you. You don't have to do that, but you can. See? So the quotes are there. With that, I thought that was cool too. I learned that. In the memoirs of Bill S. Preston, Esquire. Now, there's two things that we have to do to this sentence. First of all, it's wrap it in the cite tags. Secondly, Esquire is an abbreviation. So, and it also even has it in the checklist that you're supposed to, that's a part of the requirement. So always pay attention to the requirements. So that's Esquire. Okay. So now one good thing we could do is just kind of go line by line, do a quick scan to make sure everything looks okay. So we got the bold, everything. Yep. Let me know if you see anything. This isn't live, so I won't know until later. But if I made a mistake, let me know. I mean, I'm pretty tired. If you see anything, let me know. It's always good to have a second pair of eyes. I mean, overall, it looks good. Overall, I don't see anything that really stands out. But the last thing, and let me just double check that I went through everything on the checklist. So everything's marked up. Yep. Dates, abbreviations, superscripts, subscripts. Now, what they want us to do, they want us to, I guess as a bonus, try to mark up at least 2 appropriate words in the text with strong importance emphasis. So, I mean, one thing I saw where it says, "We are happy to accommodate you starting your study with us at this time. However, it would suit us better if you could start at the beginning of a semester." So I was thinking, however, could be emphasis, like however. So I'm just gonna do that at any time, because I kind of looked through it, and I mean, that seems appropriate to me. Because they're saying, hey, we're fine with this. We're fine with you coming. However, it would suit us better. And I thought better could be in a strong tag. That could be emphasis. But this is pretty subjective, I guess. But that's like a bonus point thing. So at any time, however, it would suit us better if you could start at the beginning of semester. And that's just my opinion. Maybe there's something else in here. Like, you seem like an intelligent, dedicated researcher. But that would be, no. I'd rather just stick to this sentence right here. Because, emphasis can really change the whole meaning of a text. So, don't want to do that. So, that's done. And then there are 2 places where you should have a hyperlink. Done. Markup university motto, quote, and citation with appropriate elements. Done. Use W3C HTML validator to validate your HTML. Award yourself bonus points if it validates. I didn't really go through and read about that, but the validator is to make sure you have good markup, basically, and it goes through and checks that for you, and it's make sure you got good markup. So use the W3C HTML validator to validate your HTML. The validator checks the markup validity of web documents in HTML, XHTML, SMIL, MathML, etc. If you wish to validate specific content, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so there's an option to just kind of just copy the text and paste it in, direct input. Check it. Let's see if I have any errors. Anything? Document checking completed. No errors or warnings to show. I believe if there were errors, it would tell you what you could fix in your code. But this is some pretty good stuff right here. So again, that was Intro to HTML. The first assessment, marking up a letter. And then I'll come back for structuring a page of content. And it looks like that you're basically going to be structuring a page of content. kind of like this, but a little bit more advanced. So, but I'm pretty much going to be doing this for every section. Just make a video of what I did, and hopefully meet more people who have gone through this. I haven't done like free code camp. I tried several times and I just never finished it. Well, I've tried other sources too, but I don't know. I really like this one. Hopefully more people catch on. This is slept on, okay? All right. See you later in the next video. Bye.